History remembers the Battle of Hattin as a military disaster, a catastrophic turning point in the Crusades. A day when the proud Latin kingdom of Jerusalem collapsed into dust beneath the unforgiving sun of the Holy Land. But what if Hattin wasn't just a military defeat? What if it was something far darker? An act of betrayal from within? What if those sworn to protect the kingdom, the knights in white mantles with crimson crosses, weren't just warriors of God, but pawns in a deadly game of pride, politics, and secrets? This is not the sanitized version told in Western textbooks. This is the forbidden truth behind Hattin, a story where valor blurs with vanity, where loyalty dissolves in the desert wind, where the line between Templar and traitor becomes unsettlingly thin. To understand how the blood of Hattin came to stain the sand, we must go back, before the battle cries, before the swords were drawn, to a kingdom already dying from the inside. It is the year 1187. Jerusalem, the so-called crown jewel of Christendom, is in crisis. The king, Guy of Lusignan, is weak and unpopular, a French noble more known for arrogance than strategy. He rose to the throne not by merit but by marriage, having wed Queen Sibylla, half-sister to Queen Isabella. But many in the court see him as a puppet, especially the powerful military orders, the Templars and the Hospitallers. These warrior monks, sworn to poverty, chastity, and obedience, wield more power than most barons. They are elite, fanatical, and wealthy beyond comprehension. The Templars, in particular, have grown into something far greater than their mission: protectors of pilgrims. By now, they are bankers, lords, and generals, men who answer only to the Pope. And then there's Saladin, Sultan of Egypt and Syria, a devout Muslim, yes, but also a brilliant tactician and a calculating diplomat. By 1187, he has united the fractured Muslim world under one crescent banner, and his eyes are fixed on Jerusalem. But Saladin isn't in a rush. He waits. He watches. He knows his enemy will undo itself given time. And then, as always in history, it begins with one act of arrogance. A man named Raynald of Chatillon, a Crusader lord and veteran of many campaigns, breaks a truce with Saladin. He attacks a Muslim caravan traveling through his lands, slaughtering merchants, women, children, despite explicit warnings not to. Saladin demands justice. Raynald refuses. Guy of Lusignan, instead of punishing Raynald, supports him. The peace collapses. The war begins. And so the pieces move. Saladin gathers the largest Muslim army the region has seen in a generation. Tens of thousands of horsemen, archers, and infantry. And across the desert, Guy scrambles to unite the fragmented Christian forces. Knights, mercenaries, local levies, and the Templars. But not all support him. Some barons, like Raymond III of Tripoli, warn against rash movements. Raymond has years of experience fighting Saladin. He knows the land. He pleads with Guy to stay near the springs, keep the high ground, and wait. But others, like Gerard de Ridefort, Grand Master of the Knights Templar, push for an immediate march. Why? Some say Ridefort sought redemption. He had once been humiliated by Raymond of Tripoli and now saw a chance to undermine him. Others believe the Templars had begun to believe their own myth, that no force on earth, not even Saladin, could challenge them. And so, against all wisdom, they march. On July 2nd, the Christian army begins its fateful move across the searing plains of Galilee. 2 days later, they are exhausted, disoriented, and dying of thirst. Saladin waits until they are at their weakest. Then, near the twin hills known as the Horns of Hattin, he strikes. The trap is perfect. His men encircle the Crusaders, set fire to the dry grass around them, and bombard them with volleys of arrows. The heat is unbearable. The smoke chokes their lungs. The water is gone. Morale breaks. The battle that follows is not a clash. It is a slaughter. Thousands are cut down, captured, beheaded. Among them, the Templars. And here is where the story takes a disturbing turn. Of the few prisoners taken alive, Saladin orders the Templar and Hospitaller knights separated from the others. He offers them a choice: convert to Islam or die. They refuse. Saladin, in a cold display of what some call justice and others vengeance, personally oversees the execution of nearly every Templar taken that day. One by one they kneel. One by one their heads fall. It is said that over 200 knights of the temple died that day. But among the survivors was Gerard de Ridefort, the Grand Master. He is spared. Why? This is where the whispers begin, where the shadows in history lengthen. Some chroniclers suggest Saladin spared Ridefort as a gesture of mercy. Others say the Grand Master offered information, secrets, perhaps a political bargain. Could the head of the most feared Christian military order have betrayed his own? It sounds outrageous, unless you understand what was at stake. The Templars had wealth stashed in fortresses across the region. They had secret knowledge, routes, defenses, internal divisions among the Crusader barons. If Ridefort had offered even a fragment of this, it could explain why Saladin spared him. But the real question is, did he? No records confirm it, but none deny it either. What is known is this. Less than a year later, Gerard de Ridefort dies in another battle, cornered, cut down, and never given the chance to explain. And just like that, the man at the center of it all vanishes from the stage. So what really happened at Hattin? Was it hubris? Poor strategy? Or something darker? Did the Templars push for battle out of loyalty? Or did internal rivalries blind them to the obvious trap? And why did the men who preached sacrifice and honor choose to support a reckless king over a seasoned general? The truth is likely a tangled web of all these threads. But what is undeniable is this. After Hattin, the Crusader kingdom never recovered. Jerusalem fell soon after. The relic of the true cross, taken at Hattin, was paraded through Muslim cities as a trophy and never seen again. The myth of the invincible Templar was shattered. And yet, in the silence after the swords, what remained was a question that still haunts historians. Were the Templars victims of their own pride? Or were they something worse? Did they lose everything? Or trade it away? The answer, buried beneath blood and dust, may never fully be known. But in that uncertainty lies the real legacy of Hattin. Not just the fall of a kingdom, but the collapse of certainty, faith, and the illusion of divine invincibility. So the next time you hear of knights in white robes fighting for God, remember that even among the purest banners, shadows can grow. And sometimes the greatest enemies of a kingdom are the ones who swear to defend it. Because in the desert heat of Hattin, armor melted, swords broke, and beneath the cross, something cracked. Something that was never whole again.